gardens, vineyards, or scriptoria, were often given allowances to eat earlier in the morning. Their breakfast might consist of bread, cheese, some beans or lentils, and a bit of wine or ale. Everything was consumed in moderation and often dictated by strict dietary rules that varied with the liturgical calendar. During Lent or fasting days, no breakfast at all was permitted, or it might consist only of bread and water. The noble's breakfast. Now let's climb the social ladder to the nobility. While even wealthy lords and ladies did not always eat breakfast in the early medieval period, this began to change by the high Middle Ages. By the 14th and 15th centuries, breakfast was becoming a more established part of daily routine in upper-class households. A noble's breakfast could be surprisingly rich, especially by comparison. White bread made from finely sifted wheat flour, known as manchet bread, was a staple. It might be served with honey, butter, or jam. Eggs, often poached or boiled, could be included. Cold meats, leftovers from the previous day's feast, were not uncommon. Ham, game, or sausage might appear on the breakfast table of a wealthy estate. They might also enjoy soft cheese, fresh fruit, or preserved figs and dates imported from abroad. Spiced wine or warmed ale could be served, and by the late Middle Ages, hot drinks like spiced milk or herbal infusions were becoming popular among the elite. A lord preparing for a hunt might eat early and heavily, consuming meat, bread, and wine to give him energy for the day's ride. Ladies of the household might prefer lighter fare, like fruit with almond milk or a custard tart. Regional and seasonal variations. Of course, what people ate for breakfast also depended on where they lived. In Italy, breakfast might include chestnut flour bread, olives, or soft cheese. In coastal regions, dried fish or shellfish might make an appearance. In Scandinavia, fermented dairy or fish was common. And in Islamic Spain, alandalas. The first meal of the day could include flatbread with olive oil and dates, accompanied by a sweetened drink made from herbs and milk. Seasons made a difference, too. In spring, people had access to fresh greens and eggs from hens that started laying again. In summer, fruits might be added to breakfast. In winter, root vegetables and preserved foods, like smoked meat or hard cheese, took center stage. Food and identity. What someone ate in the morning in the medieval world said a lot about who they were. Food was deeply tied to class and culture. A peasant's coarse black bread was seen as inferior to the white loaves of the nobility. The presence of meat at breakfast was a mark of wealth. Even the ability to eat when you wanted, instead of waiting for it. Official meal was a luxury. Time, like food, was a privilege. Breakfast also reflected a person's role in society. Laborers needed energy. Monks needed discipline. Nobles wanted comfort. Each breakfast, no matter how simple or elaborate, tells a story of survival, belief, and identity in the medieval world. So, did medieval people eat breakfast? Yes, many did, especially those who worked hard, lived in cities, or held positions that allowed it. But it wasn't always the meal we know today. It wasn't even always considered a proper meal. It was whatever people had, whenever they needed it, and however their circumstances allowed. And maybe that's something we can learn from. Breakfast doesn't have to be elaborate. It just has to be enough. Whether it's cold porridge in a clay bowl or honey bread on a silver plate, every breakfast tells us something about the world in which it was eaten.